Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So the war against the cartels is on. This cartel war is in the United States as well. We're seeing the deportation of the worst offenders that they've tracked down. This is happening in multiple states. It will start to happen on an even greater scale in upcoming days and weeks. We're probably going to see Chicago pretty much have National Guard come in there. They can utilize the naval yard that's in Great Lakes to basically work from. It sounds like that's what they're going to do. But they'll come into Chicago and they'll start working on the gangs, right? And the gangs tied in. So the gangs aren't just separate. The people that have come in here that are illegal aliens aren't, in and of themselves separate from any of this. They are tied into massive corruption within the deep state in the political realm, as we're seeing with the governor Pritzker in Chicago, in Illinois, in Chicago itself. You're seeing the mayor basically railing against troops coming in to help them with their incredible crime that's happening there. They don't want them there because they're basically going to expose all the corruption. Now we're seeing up to 600 lawyers from the Department of Defense that are going to start to go to different cities. Probably one of those will be Chicago because they have corruption within the Department of Justice and so forth. We've had judges that were supposed to be getting these illegals out. They're dragging their feet. They're basically resigning on purpose to slow the process down. So they're part of the corruption as well. So President Trump is firing a bunch of those people, and he's bringing in the military. Now the military, once these guys come in, that basically sets the stage for, I believe, the next round, which will be pretty much military tribunals, right? And they will probably be judging people like Pritzker, the mayor of there in Chicago, and many, many more, right? So that's one of the things they're going to fight. We're seeing Venezuela. We just had a boat that was bringing in illegal contraband drugs and so forth. The military basically did a drone strike on it and blew it to hell, right? Killed all 11 people that were on it, and the boat itself, 4-engine speedboat that can go up to like 60 knots an hour. Now, when I was into SEAL teams, SEAL Team 6, we had boats that were a lot faster than that. But I can tell you, those speedboats are something, right? They can scoot. And they're low key, they're low level. They've been doing a lot of these drug runs for a long time, right? So they've been tracked. They're going to start eliminating them. So we're getting the illegals out that are part of the drug cartels. We're starting to hit the drug cartels in Venezuela and in Mexico. We've just had, talks with Claudia Sheinbaum. Marco Rubio was down there talking with her, and he said that it went well. Now we know that she's controlled by the drug cartels, but it seems like maybe we're going to start to see some give and take, right? Some of these people that are down there that have been, controlled by them for a long time, they had no choice. So now that they have a choice, they may start to lean in the right direction. So we'll see how that works out. Claudia Sheinbaum, will she survive? Well, a lot of these, like Maduro in Venezuela, will he survive? Probably not, right? If he does survive, he's going to be in prison somewhere in the United States, hauled away like a criminal he is, right? So we're going to see more of this going forward. Now, National Guard to deploy 1,700 troops. We've heard this across 19 states. to assist in immigration crackdown. So they're there to help the Department of Homeland Security, and President Trump is going to help them out. So which states are they going to? I'm gonna put it up on the screen, but we're seeing Alabama, Arkansas, lots of states, as you guys can see right here: Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming. Or is it one of your states where you're at? A lot of Republican states, but yeah, there's New Mexico is not a Republican state. So you're seeing but like I said a while ago, she seems like she wants to work with President Trump and his team because things are so bad in New Mexico with the drug cartels and so forth. So we'll probably see a few states that are Democrat leaning that will start to move over into the right column, right? I don't know how much, but at least some of them. So New Mexico is one of them. Will Colorado be one of them? It remains to be seen. That's going to be a tough one because it's very corrupt there in Colorado with the Democrats. All right, so 1,719 states. I mean, how many people is that? That's like, if you divvy them up evenly, that's less than 90 soldiers per state. So are they going to go in there and start kicking ass? No. Just like those 600 lawyers that are going to be divvied up to the different states, they're part of a bigger program that's coming, guys. You will see at some point special forces involved in this. I think they've already been involved in this, but you'll see them get credit for some of this. The Army, the Navy, Air Force, Marines, Special Forces, all will be involved, in my opinion, on a massive scale going forward, because the corruption, like we all know, is on an absolutely massive scale in every single state, in every single city in our country. So it's going to be a lot of effort to overcome a lot of this. It's not going to be easy. There'll be a lot of pushback from the Democrats. There already is a lot of pushback. They're going to come out with their, protest, which will eventually, like we saw with George Floyd, turn into riots. This is the start of the cartels coming in and starting to get involved in those riots and causing mayhem on a massive scale. And then on top of that, we have terrorist cells on top of the cartels. Now, the terrorist cells and the cartels are in bed together, right? Before I left the SEAL teams in 2021, 2002, 2002, long time ago, we were already seeing that in South America, the cartels were being they were getting terrorists, Hamas and so forth, that were coming in and starting to infiltrate and integrate into the cartels. So that has happened into America, because we know that the Democrat Party basically allowed that over the last 4 years. All right. So we have a lot of work to do. We're going to see a lot of destruction in the big cities. Been talking about this for years. It's coming. Now, what is very good about this, on a positive note, is that President Trump is taking it to the source, right? So Venezuela and Maduro will go down. Mexican cartels will go down in the broader spectrum of taking them down in the United States as well. So it's a large operation that will involve these different countries and so forth. And so we're looking at the beginning stages of the setup of this larger war that's coming, right? It's going kinetic. So it's been a lot of, irregular warfare with guys like me and other people that have been providing you with information. So at some point, there has to be a kinetic activity. And we've seen that now. And we're going to see more of that. Of course, none of us wants that kinetic activity. We would rather this be, settled peacefully. Cartels stop pushing drugs into America, or else. That's been tried before, of course, and they haven't stopped, right? So they just got one of their high-speed speedboats, probably $1 million plus boat with 11 people on it, blown to hell, right? Loaded with, drugs that would have probably brought in tens and tens of millions of dollars, if not more. And it's sitting on the bottom of the Gulf of America now, right? So we're going to see this pick up, all right? So the war of words on both sides is picking up. The war of words in Venezuela from Maduro, which is basically, amping his people up. You'll go out and protest America or else type thing, probably. And old people coming out, it's like, I'm ready to fight. Yeah, right. You were told to get out there. You're probably somebody's family, and they said go out there and make it for the cameras, right? So this is going to continue. This war of words, this irregular warfare, and until it really starts to peak into kinetic activity. All right, and so in the States, you will see the first test case will be Chicago. Eventually it will be New York. LA is already ongoing. It's working as well as it is, right? Now, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, you name it, big city that's corrupt from, drug trafficking, political, and so forth. There's going to be military come into those cities and into those states, right? They're going to resist. The people are going to be amped up to resist. And that's why this irregular warfare has been very important over the last several years, to basically clue everybody up just how evil, just how corrupt this deep state and how embedded this is in a lot of these governments, right? Not only the governments, of course, but in the school system, in the big pharma. All of these things are being exposed. So it's a multifaceted takedown of the deep state system. They will resist. Their minions will resist. Their irregular warfare, war of words from the likes of Gavin Newsom, Kathy Hochul in New York, and of course now in the upcoming conflict that's coming in Chicago with Pritzker and their mayor, the mayor of Chicago. And we will see this play out, how it plays out. How much resistance is there going to be? We've heard a lot from the people there that they want the military to come in and clean up their cities. So how far has that gone? How many people are ready to move to the right side of this? How many people will play because the Democrats have taken care of them for generations, all right? How many of them will side with the Democrat, the evil Democrats, and push back and maybe even get physical, right? They will be the lower stages of it. Now, within those groups, there will be people that will be fomenting these protests. And then eventually, so a lot of these people are paid, of course. And then, of course, within there will be, some violence, flag burning. That's one of the things that President Trump got on top of. Executive order saying no more flag burning or you're going to go to jail. This is always part of their rioting. So when the flag burning starts, then it starts to get riot level, right? So they know that. They've seen this over time. They've seen the process. They've been observing these groups for a long time now, all the way back to Floyd. All right. And they know how to take them down. And so the takedowns are going to happen with the leadership within those groups. Some of those people will be deported that are part of those groups, of course. And then those people that are violence instigators will be held accountable, will be locked up, hopefully for the rest of their lives, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out. There's a lot to look at. So Pentagon authorizes, like I said, up to 600 military lawyers to serve as temporary immigration judges. Of course, that's going to move into, basically military tribunals, guys, right? It's very easy to see that this is the steps towards that. And this won't be down in Guantanamo. This will be in cities that go into rampage mode, that have rioting from the citizens, that are coerced and pushed to do that. You'll see that with, like I said, the cartel members that are within there, maybe even some of the people from China. So, and then of course the terrorists that have been coming in. So remember, the terrorists have been for over 25 years now part of going into the cartels, the terrorists from the Middle East. All right. So we're going. That's going to be proven. Now I'm talking about that. It's not. I'm not outside of my. I'm not revealing anything secret. It used to be, but I've been watching this being talked about. Leaders within South American countries coming from Hamas families. How does a South American country get someone that comes from Palestine and becomes part of their leadership, political leadership? See, these things are not new. It's been ongoing. So it's been revealed for a long time, but now it's coming to a head. So, like I said, the military is sending groups of 150 attorneys, both military and civilians. So probably some of these civilian attorneys that will become judges, just like somebody that's hired, contractor type, to come in and do this. We're going to see maybe some of these people are just like during World War, will be promoted. They'll be read into the military. Ominous. You're now a captain in the Army, and you're going to be a lawyer, and then we're going to upgrade you to an attorney, right? So this is as soon as practicable. So this is moving on a very fast pace. First round of people identified by next week, it said. So we're in that window of when this first 150 attorneys to be lawyers are starting to move out, right? And where did this happen? The effort comes as Trump administration's more regularly turns to the military as it cracks down on illegal immigration. It's not just illegal immigration. So remember, there's terrorist, there's cartel. It's just not like these podunk people that have come across the border that just wanted to get a free food and places to live and free everything the Democrats threw at them. No, there's that, of course. That's a cover. But then mixed among them are the terrorist, cartel members, and so on. So those are the ones that have been targeted first, right? Eventually, they're going to get them all, right? So they're ramping up their arrest and the deportations. Troops patrolling the U.S. There's growing role in the push includes troops patrolling U.S.-Mexico border. 10,000 troops on the U.S.-Mexican border, right? Going all the way from California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, the entire border, right? We have troops down there, military aircraft. There's housing people on military bases. Now, during the corrupt Biden years, they were bringing in these illegal aliens and housing them on military bases and then distributing them into our cities. Now that process is being reversed. So corruption from the Democrats, the deep state. Democrats are deep state, period. All right. Democrat Party has to go away. All right. And as this continues, we'll find the rhinos, right? We'll find the rhinos, the Republican in name only, and we'll get rid of them as well, guys. All right. So this process, it will continue. Some of those people will probably be part of military tribunals. All right. So there's a massive backlog of roughly 3.5 million cases that's ballooned in recent years. Of course, President Trump and his group is pushing this to happen at a very fast pace. So at the same time, more than 100 immigration judges have been fired or left voluntarily to disrupt the system. This was part of always part of it. So President Trump and team have figured out how to overcome that, and that's by bringing these lawyers, DOD and civilian contractors that will be upgraded, and they will become judges. So it's moving very quickly and very effectively, and it's obviously well thought out ahead of time, and it's moving quite perfectly. Now, U.S. troops are stationed across the southern border, like I talked about, with notable presence in Yuma, Arizona. There's a big base there. Navy SEALs. We have a free fall place there. I think maybe there's some sniper groups that train in Yuma. So all of these places, military bases along the border, are going to be utilized for eventually, I think, moving into Mexico up to 20 miles or so to take out the cartels. So the cartels are, along our border. Where do they make the money? They make the border in the United States, and their tunnels and so forth. Tunnels are being taken down and maybe even utilized to invade them in the future, right? So we're not against the Mexican people, we're against the cartels. But again, how much of these cartels, like the Democrat Party, have coerced their populations into becoming part of their groups, and they will help resist? I don't know. We will find out. All right. So logistics and headquarters at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. Like I said, Yuma. New Mexico National Defense Area, Texas National Defense Area. So bases in probably both of those. Other ones, joint training bases in San Diego, California, McAllen, Texas. They're all involved in detection, monitoring, logistics, and transportation support. So they're not actively doing the Border Patrol's work, but they're assisting. So there's support for the Border Patrol, engineering and logistics, putting up fencing, barbed wire, surveillance devices, monitoring, drones, and so forth. Detention, if they're in an area where illegals are coming over, they'll be part of detaining them until they can hand them over to Border Patrol, right? So lots of things are happening, right? So this has been a multi-month setup. Of course, they've been planning this for years, and now we're moving into the implementation, the Kinetic side of this. So the U.S. Northern Command, DoD support to U.S. border security, Department of Defense has a long history of supporting efforts to secure U.S. border since early 1990s. Of course, it's moving into another stage of it. Will there be more troops that will be stationed down along the border? I think so. Now, I think around the world, a lot of the troops around the world that have been positioned out there by the deep state, they're being brought back. Not all of them, but many of them are being brought back, right? They're going to be part of winning against the cartels and the deep state. So as you see here, a lot of these people that are there are support guys. They're not war fighters, right? You put the Marines down there. Of course, they have to have, people to cook the food, that work the computers, to pay them, medical, if they get hurt, you get an hourly or something. So you have a lot of that support. So normally it's only about 10% or less that are actually war fighters. Everybody else, so you're seeing 10,000 down there, probably only about 1,500 to 2,000, maybe a little bit more, that are actually involved or war fighters that can actually pull triggers and so forth and get out there and potentially do that, right? So we're definitely going to see a lot more service members start to slowly move down along the border into these bases, probably surreptitiously, and then eventually it will be game on, crossing the border, right? And taking down the cartels on a kinetic level. Of course, there'll be cartels have their drones and their machine guns and all stuff they got from Afghanistan, thanks to the Democrat Party and Joe Biden, that have been shipped out there. But they're going against the most powerful military in the world. They're going to lose, and they're going to lose substantially, right? So maybe they'll put up a fight like Maduro is talking tough. I remember a lot of tough talkers for a long time. When we went down to Panama, Noriega was a tough talker, and he was running the first night for his life, right? We finally found him hiding in a church, Catholic church, right? So the rest of his boys put up a fight without him. They were decimated very quickly, right? So the first night it was over. After that, it was just mopping up in Panama, right? So we went down there during the Reagan time frames, and we just it was done. So I was there months before that, same thing, getting everything ready, finding where the targets were, all the things we needed to do, and then we implemented it. So we've done the same thing throughout the world, but the deep state comes in and pulls back the reins and hampers everything so that these wars last. This is not that time, guys. When we go and we knock hell out of these people, it's going to be done very quickly, very effectively, and God help those idiots that resist and put up a fight, right? They're going to need it because they're probably going to hell, all of them, right? Mexico emphasizes sovereignty, good ties during Rubio visit. So Marco went down there, says U.S.-Mexico cooperation closer than ever. All right, is this just, posturing? Is that real? Is it more irregular warfare? Remains to be seen. Trip comes after U.S. military attacked vessel from Venezuela. All right, like we've been talking about. So basically showing them, hey, we're serious here. Don't make us do this to you too. All right. So Mexico stresses sovereignty concerns in drug fight. So again, my thoughts that we will go into Mexico. We're not going to seize Mexico. We're going to do business like we have for a long time, for 100 years or more. Everybody loves Mexico. We love the Mexican people. Absolutely. It's nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with the cartels, right? And the cartels are going to lose, and they're going to lose horribly. Right? And I think the Mexican people are going to be very happy about that. But the Mexican cartels, it's 5:55 here. So the Mexican cartels basically have come in and done away with the corruption of the Mexican government, right? And so I've been down to Mexico. It's very well run. A lot of places. And a lot of them say that's because of cartels. They make money off of tourists. And so they want everything to be good. And they don't put up with any bullshit. So how does that get flipped? Does the Mexican government come in and do that work, or do they go corruption again? Because we know, I know, because I've been going down to Mexico for 50 years, that it's been very corrupt down there in Mexico. All right. So the drug cartels have cleaned a lot of stuff up, even though, you know, they're very vicious. And so I don't know. I don't know how this gets fixed. We shall see. So it talks about onward to Ecuador. Washington's top diplomat will travel from Mexico City to Ecuador in his latest trip to the region. Rubio, the first Latino U.S. Secretary of State, traveled to countries in Central America and the Caribbean during his first overseas trip after taking office, as the administration sought to shift back focus to Latin America. So this is a good thing. We're moving in the right direction. Rubio, I think, has like 5 different hats he's wearing right now. He wears them all well. At some point, I guess somebody's gonna take a little bit of pressure off him, but it remains to be seen until they get the right people, guys. So let's look at some of this that's going down with Venezuela, what that looks like.
States is sending 3 naval destroyers to Venezuela, while the country's despotic leader, Nicolas Maduro, dispatches millions of militia members throughout his country.
That's right. Venezuela's leader has decided to dig in and raise an army he says can stop any U.S. military force. But as 4,000 Marines and state-of-the-art destroyers begin operations in Venezuelan waters, critics wonder what effect, if any, a homegrown militia of untrained volunteers would have against the world's greatest military. Unless, of course, this militia has been built with a much different, darker purpose in mind.
The U.S. Navy reportedly sending at least 7 vessels, including 3 guided missile destroyers, to the waters off Venezuela.
The Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro issues a warning to the United States that an attack against him could be, quote, the beginning of the end of the American empire. Maduro made his remarks without offering further details on exactly what he meant.
Venezuela is not controlled by a government. It's actually been taken over by El Cartel de los Soles, which is a terrorist organization.
We have to take any enemy.
All right. So there you go. We knew this in the military a quarter century ago, that this was going on. The cartels were basically taken over by the terrorist groups from the Middle East. And I think that the Chinese have also moved in and have their influence in there as well. So it's a little mix mash. That's why I'm saying it's a possibility that we may see Chinese military age males have probably been trained to, cause problems, become activated. So it's going to be very interesting going forward, how this works out. Of course, like I said, our military, U.S. military, has the might to basically crush everything within a day. And from that point on, it is a mop-up plan. So I'm sure that they have targets already. Some of these targets you're going to start to see have been hit. Land targets, drone strikes, and so forth are already happening.
Seriously, we cannot dismiss any threat they may come up with. Volunteers as old as 75 turned up to enlist, even those with trouble hearing. That shows the level of some Venezuelans' enthusiasm to join the militia.
All 3 vessels.
Yep, we'll see what level of the deep state here in the United States, in Chicago, how many people are going to get involved, guys, and who will do it. We have communists here in the United States that are just chomping at the bit. Some of these old timers in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, long-term communists here in the United States are probably going to be all over the place, guys. They'll be out in front. It's probably, you can't believe this, but I've already seen these guys. I've seen them in Florida. I saw them in some of these videos out there where in Portland and so forth, where they're out there disrupting, they're old communists, right? So this is like something they've been waiting for their whole lives. You're going to see a lot of people get involved in this. It's going to be it's going to get cray-cray.
Are Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. They each carry dozens of Tomahawk cruise missiles able to hit targets on land and at sea.
Whether the cartel in Venezuela decides to close shop and move out of there, or they decide to try to confront President Trump, it's up to them. But I will tell you, just ask the Sinaloa cartel or ask ISIS if it's a good idea to confront President Trump. And I think the answer is pretty obvious.
Yep, the answer is very obvious, right? But like we've seen in the past, the deep state would come in and start to integrate and keep these wars going forever. Do you really think that's going to happen with President Trump and the White Hats? It's not going to happen, guys. All right. So I've been involved, and so like I keep saying, down in Panama, it was over. Right, very quickly. Noriega had his machete out there, and he's like, "Come on, let's go, America. You're gonna find out." Right? We've seen this. We saw that with Noriega, the mother of all wars. It was over within weeks. So it's basically going to be the same thing when we hit these people. It's going to be over. But will it be long-term over? That's where everything becomes a little cloudy, right? So who gets control? Who is the ones that come in and fix things? It's going to be very interesting, right? So why would we go down to some of these countries? What do we have to gain? What is down there for America? And we're going to talk about that. So President Trump is all about trade, art of the deal. So all around the world, if everyone had the money that would make them happy, why would they, right? Where we have to look at the trade situation, and I know that that's part of what's been looked at. That hasn't been looked at before because the deep state came in to basically steal everything, so that the people, when we came into these countries, got food more. Probably some leaders and so forth were able to get power because they promised people that they would give more back to them, like communism does, right? But we know that communism does not work, and usually the ones that are claiming communism, like Democrats, are the ones that are going to make out while everybody else becomes their slaves, right? Of course, the Democrat Party is the party of slavery all the way back to the Civil War. So they're masters at slavery, and everyone that supports the Democrats right now, you're supporting slave masters, right? And worse, because they want to destroy America so that they can, continue to live high on the hog like Nancy Pelosi, right? And Elon, what's the one in Michigan? Can't think of her name. She's from Somalia. She's got. She went from, I guess, from last year to this year, she was like there. Now she's all right. So corruption and theft from these Omar. Ilhan Omar, is that her name? That's right. So it's exposure of all that. And so they're coming after that as well. And then, of course, we just had a bunch of people that testified for the Epstein stuff. And so that's moving in the direction. Of course, they're going to infiltrate that and try and, make Trump out to be a bad guy. So whatever. Julie, we are the slaves. No, I'm not a slave. I hope you're not. But I mean, if you allow the Democrat Party to make you a slave, yes, there's a lot of slavery out there when it comes to the Democrat Party, right? Like I said, they're masters at it. So let's look at some video of this boat being blasted.
U.S. from Venezuela with a boat full of drugs. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told reporters that the administration will wage combat against drug cartels wherever they are. Watch this.
Will you act on Venezuelan soil against the Maduro regime?
Well, this is a counter-drug operation. We're going to take on drug cartels wherever they are and wherever they're operating against the interests of the United States. The president's top obligation is to secure the national interest and the national security of our people. I know of no president that means that more than this one. Our president now, President Trump.
So it is, it's moving that direction. So you saw kinetic action right there. And what does that kinetic action look like? So let's break it down. So yes, it's good to see. It's good to have knowledge. It's good to understand what's going on, so you can talk this. And here's where it basically informs you how U.S. strike Venezuela cartels and drug boats.
How did the U.S. strike Venezuelan cartels using military assets from the sea, land, and air? The American Navy uses specialized amphibious landing craft that act almost like miniature aircraft carriers, launching drones that can later be armed with Hellfire missiles. These missiles, guided by semi-active lasers or millimeter wave radar, turn the drones into highly lethal weapons. This technology allows them to lock onto and track targets with extreme accuracy, even those moving at speeds of 100 miles per hour. Both the U.S. and Venezuela employ very different naval strategies. More details, all in the video ahead. How did the U.S. naval and aerial surveillance track the suspected drug boat for several weeks as part of an intensified anti-narcotics campaign in the Southern Caribbean? This surveillance effort combined multi-source intelligence with persistent drone monitoring to identify maritime activities linked to drug cartels. The vessel under observation was a 4-engine speedboat, a type specially designed for high-velocity trafficking operations. Such boats typically travel at speeds ranging from 40 to 60 knots.
Yes, and being on one of those in the middle of the ocean where it's like lightning and a storm, and you're heading to take down a cruise ship with terrorists on it, and training, it's pretty exciting, right? So these guys got a lot of excitement. They get blown to pieces. It's very exciting for their souls, all right, going to hell. All right, so we're going to see a lot more of these people going to hell, all right? It's going to happen on a massive level. These are very demonic, very evil people. They do human sacrifice. They rape little children. These people have no right to be in our world, right? So they will be taken out of our world on a massive scale going forward.
Approximately 46 to 69 miles per hour. This is around 74 to 111 kilometers per hour when traversing open water. Once the boat crossed from Venezuelan territorial waters into international waters, U.S. authorities positively identified it as part of a cartel-operated smuggling mission, believed to be managed by the notorious Venezuelan criminal organization Tren de Aragua. Execution of the strike. Let us now examine how the strike was executed in detail. The MQ-9 Reaper drone responsible for the operation was most likely deployed from an amphibious naval task force operating in the Southern Caribbean region. This task force included warships and Marines engaged in both exercises and active missions, from which MQ-9 drones routinely conduct surveillance and precision strike activities. These platforms provide the necessary launch and command capabilities for such unmanned aerial vehicles. The MQ-9 Reaper, an unmanned remotely piloted aircraft, tracked the high-speed speedboat from above, continuously transmitting high-definition video and sensor data back to command centers and strike coordinators on the ground or aboard naval vessels. The MQ-9 has a maximum operational ceiling up to 50,000 feet and can loiter in the target area for up to 24 hours, affording it the endurance required to maintain precise real-time tracking of fast-moving maritime targets. After positive identification and receiving presidential authorization, the drone executed the strike by closing in on the boat. It launched a single AGM-114 Hellfire missile, a highly precise air-to-surface weapon capable of tracking and hitting fast and maneuvering targets with lethal accuracy.
Bye-bye baddies. All right, so this is the same techniques that we're using in the Middle East to take out terrorists. Took out a lot of terrorists, found a lot of terrorists, took them out. They're going bye-bye, right? And sometimes you want to have precision, and you want to have DNA. So you get SEAL Team 6 Bubbas to go in and do the strike, or in the case of who was that one terrorist that we took out, al-Baghdadi in just outside of Syria, or maybe it was in Syria, just after we had Nancy Pelosi go to Jordan for a meeting, and there's talk that she was communicating with al-Baghdadi, giving him some intel, and that's how they found him, through her communication. So she obviously has probably a military tribunal set up for her, if it hasn't already happened. So Delta went in and got al-Baghdadi. And you guys might remember there was talk about this dog, right? Dog man or something like that went in and tracked him down. So there's a lot of stuff that you guys probably never learn about, but there, I'll just slip some of that in occasionally. So it'll make you do the research, and maybe you'll find some stuff out. All right. So U.S. Navy drops the hammer on Venezuela, like we saw. Cartel drug lab wiped off the map. So not only are the boats getting targeted, but also the labs that create the nasty drugs that are killing Americans by the hundreds of thousands every year.
The U.S. has declared war on Venezuela, and they did not see it coming. Operating a drug lab can be lucrative, but when the U.S. is involved, it's a whole different story. Venezuela's most feared cartel gang, the Tren de Aragua, has been operating a successful drug lab, but judgment came in May.
All right, so you guys remember Tren de Aragua in Colorado, right? So remember them going into those apartment complexes, and you had, basically ICE tracked them down and started hammering them, and the politicians of Colorado didn't like that. Yeah. So those politicians of Colorado, the one that, don't like for election integrity, they're probably going to have a nice little military judge that resides over their court proceedings as well. So that's going to happen for, like I said, for a lot of these places. They will resist. Colorado, Denver, Crack Palace, and Denver, whatever. They're going to resist. Tren de Aragua, which is probably still in Colorado on a massive scale, they're gonna resist. So you're gonna see some pushback. But not only will we figure out their connection to the drugs and so forth, we're going to see the money laundering that has been happening with the mortgages. We're going to see the money laundering and control that money does as far as like buying up politicians and making sure that they do what they want them to do. Even in South Carolina, where I'm from, they're talking about having new voting machines, spending $50 million on voting machines. Voting machines cannot go forward. So even in my former home state of South Carolina, there's massive corruption, like it never has been. Right. All right. So a lot of different states that at one time were good states, like South Carolina, have fallen to corruption. So we're going to see it happen to Georgia. They spent tens of millions of dollars, even after Texas told them, don't get those voting machines because they're corruptible. And they went ahead and bought them anyway. All right. So we know that the Georgia political, all the way at the top has been corrupted And we're going to see a lot of that basically get turned around soon.
There's gang territory. You prepared for the consequences? Join us as we unveil how the and the drug lab. Trump has made cracking down on drug cartels a central goal of his administration as part of a wider effort to limit migration and secure the U.S. southern border. In recent months, they have already deployed at least 2 warships to help in border security efforts and drug trafficking. A few months back, the administration designated Mexico's Sinaloa cartel and other drug gangs, as well as Venezuelan criminal group Tren de Aragua, as global terrorist organizations, showing just how serious they are in wiping cartels off the face of the earth. Not long after the terrorist designation, Donald Trump authorized the Pentagon to carry out military operations.
All right. We're going to resist to move forward. And it's very encouraging, right? So why do some of this they do, right? Stop and bring up this. So the is involved in shaping in the future, right? For whatever reason, it's not sharing. There we go. It's slow moving. All right. So maybe the deep state doesn't like me sharing this stuff. All right, here we are. Force conducts first air, and you have a very high level officer that's talking about why we're getting involved and how that's going to affect us and those countries in trade negotiations. Have a reason for going in, and everything has to be paid for, right? There has to be a reason for this. It's better for the United States to, trade for the United States to trade and not the deep state to trade in drugs and illegal activity. It's better to do this on the up and up and do it more effectively. So here you go.
To my number 2 adversary in the region, Russia. I mean, I've got of course, the countries, Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua with Russia relationships. But why this region matters with all of its rich resources and rare earth elements. You've got the lithium triangle, which is needed for technology today. 60% of the world's lithium is in the lithium triangle, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile. You just have the largest oil reserves, light sweet crude discovered off of Guyana over a year ago. You have Venezuela's resources as well with oil, copper, gold. We have the Amazon, lungs of the world. We have the 31% of the world's fresh water in this region too. I mean, it's just off the charts. We have a lot to do. This region matters.
All right, so it does matter. It matters to the deep state. It has mattered to the deep state. Let's not let them have it, right? Let's do good trade relations with these countries. They will kick out the deep state. We will kick out the deep state for them. And then we'll have normalized trade relations with them. And that's the way this is going to work out, guys. All right. Trade throughout time, whether we go back to ancient Egyptian times. Egypt was a breadbasket of the world in its time, fed the entire Mediterranean. Of course, Egypt became very big, very powerful, but they weren't going out and killing everybody, right? They weren't deep staters. They just had the great agriculture, and then everybody else tried to come and take it from them, and then they built their army and kept themselves safe. So this is what we're going to see in the future. Basically, elimination of the deep state, no more wars, and good trading relationships around the world with everyone. Now, in the big cities, still has to be work done in the big cities. Not only Tren de Aragua, like we're going to see in New York, like I talked about in Denver, Colorado, but in many other states. These drug cartels and terrorists are all over America, guys. So yes, there is a future, but we have to clean up before we get there. And it's going to be very challenging, but I have very, very great confidence that we're moving in the right direction. We're being proactive rather than reactive, which is very important. I've rarely seen the proactivity in my entire career of 35 years in the SEAL teams and in the CIA like I have now.
As a guy who spent 34 years deporting illegal aliens, I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
So illegal immigrants in American sanctuary cities are on notice, especially in New York, where gangs like Tren de Aragua and MS-13 have taken over middle-class neighborhoods all over the place, throughout the city and state. And while ICE's shock and awe campaign is in full swing on America's West Coast, the war...
I see those guys like blew the door and just walked in. It's like that's not the way we move. But, you know, safety, I guess, they're doing a good job. They're trained the level they're trained at. So we're seeing these guys, you know, really kicking back on these illegals, MS-13 and Tren de Aragua within their cities, New York. So we'll definitely see troops going into New York to basically combat them. There will be a battle. There will be a war against these, you know, cartels and terrorists that are in those big cities, especially New York. Now, the politicians, Kathy Hochul, and, you know, probably, so we're seeing Mamdani is probably going to be the mayor of New York, a communist, and probably has ties. If they start to look, Middle Eastern guy, probably ties to you know, terrorism guys, right? Communism, terrorism, cartels, it's all the same thing. The communism comes in to basically enslave the local population. They run the drugs through there, make massive profits, do their money laundering through, like we've been pointing out for years now, through the mortgage fraud. They basically buy houses in a massive block for, you know, $100,000 a house. You know, they got like 100 homes, and then the cartels come in and they buy them up for $1 million plus a piece, right? So money laundering. And so they're making billions of dollars worth of money through the mortgage fraud. And this is the cartel linking, going all the way down into, of course, Katie Hobbs, suspiciously, you know, became, even though she didn't go out in politic, like we saw with Joe Biden, you know, it's already chosen who's going to be there. And of course, she has supported the drug cartels through Maricopa County and so forth. So they do the money laundering through Maricopa, same thing, mortgage fraud and so forth. So we're seeing a lot of politicians, and we will see a lot more politicians and judges and so forth that are going to get busted on mortgage fraud, because that is one of their major sources of money laundering, and we have exposed it. All right, so quickly moving in the right direction. 400,000 illegals forcibly returned to Mexico and other countries. You guys might have caught where that 6.0 earthquake happened in Afghanistan near Jalalabad, and basically, you know, little villages and so forth had a lot of death. And they said one of the problems was that a lot of people are being returned, and that causes more problems in these areas. Well, that's too bad. right? So, and I thought that was very interesting, where we're returning these people that got a free ride. Remember when Joe Biden was transporting all these Afghans, they brought them to U.S. bases, like I talked about, and then distributed them throughout the United States. Now they're being returned back to Afghanistan. So terrorists, some of them, all right? Jalalabad is a known area where there were a lot of terrorists, right? They used to come into Pakistan. That was bin Laden involved in all that stuff. So many terrorists that when I worked for the CIA in Pakistan, we took so many of them out, but they would often go across the border in Afghanistan when the heat was on. Now, when the heat comes on to these people that are in New York and so forth, they're going to have nowhere to run. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. So we're going to track them down. We'll eliminate the ones that are really bad, that resist, and the other ones we'll send them back to their countries, and they can, link up with Maduro, because he's building a great big army that's really going to kick America's butt. Just like Noriega, just like Saddam Hussein, just like all these other crazy people out there. I thought that they could go against the United States, right? So that's what's coming. It's going to be incredible what we're going to see over the next several months and years, right? Something that many of us thought we'd never see, me included, right? Especially me, right? Because I started to see the bigger picture of all this. Yep. Haven't heard too much from Gretchen Whitmer, right? So she's either been part now of the good guys, or she'll go down in her own tribunal, right? Maybe both. Who knows? All right. Lots of love. Stay in love vibration, and we'll see you guys next time.